Welcome back or welcome to the Sexy Business Podcast. I'm your host, Carolina.
And I'm Aisla. And today we have a very special guest, August.
Hey.
Who's my very dear friend. She's also from Lithuania, so we have this little free Lithuanian girl party today. And she's a businesswoman, and I wanted to invite her to the podcast to talk about what it feels to be a woman in business. So let's start from you giving us a little intro of what kind of agency you have, what do you do, and then we're gonna take it from there.
Okay. Right. My elevator pitch had to be ready, and I realized just before coming on that it's not. But my name is August, and I am a founder of Hotsanaita Creative Agency. We are Europe's leading creative house, cultivating authentic jewelry business development and growth. Okay, now that I've got the official part ready, we're basically a creative agency fueled by digital performance marketing, and we develop and grow jewelry businesses from the US, UK, Asia, Europe sometimes as well. So, yeah, I found the company 7 years ago, and for the past almost a decade, my whole life was all about pretty things and jewelry and helping women as well achieve their, goals in business.
Yeah. Yeah, but to be very real, you're saying this and probably when you are doing something, it feels like, oh yeah, this is this thing, but you're in it, so you don't see it from afar. Where I have people who oh, August, I have been following her pages for forever, and they admire you because you are this big thing. You are doing really incredible work. It's very high level, high standards. What got you into photography world in general, and how come you decided, because literally your life turned out the way that you're okay, I'm gonna do the business, and when I speak to you, it seems like it just comes to you super naturally. So how did it start?
I think the very beginning is, well, let's start with the fact that my dad always had this entrepreneurship spark in him. So I grew up maybe not seeing them around too much, but I always knew that they're out there hustling, working, running things. And I think I got that 100% from him. I am not built to work for anyone. I think the character is too single child, Leo kind of a thing. So it wasn't even an option to ever go to the route of working 9 to 5 for someone else. Um, so yeah, I remember I was holding my camera since 11 years old, maybe even older. I was always, I don't know how my family actually dealt with it. It was so annoying. I had my camera with me all the time, taking photos of everyone and everything. And it wasn't nice photos. They were photos of people's faces, from here to here, the photos that you give to your family after an event, after a dinner, and they're like, oh God, this is horrible. But then they would be like, yes, well done, well done. So yeah, I think the photography journey started like that, and then I went into studying journalism in the UK and went off to work in a portrait and product photography studio for 3 years over there. And I realized that, look, there's so much potential into having your own business and doing something well. And I knew for a fact that I can't be a master of everything in photography. I can't go do a wedding on a weekend and then photograph a dog on a Monday and then a headshot on Tuesday and then do an e-commerce product photo shoot for 100 TV screens on Wednesday. Because I would not have been good, or not, maybe not good, but perfect for all of those things. And jewelry came to my life kind of at the same time as I was studying. So it's a really random story. So there was a moment in my life when I just moved to live in a Buddhist center in Bristol, in a shed. And I was working, but I don't know, Isa, if you knew that.
That's new information, but I love it.
It was a very strange part of my life. So I moved to live in the shed in a Buddhist center.
That's when you started the business in the Buddhist center in the shed.
No, so at that point, I was working in a cafe, in a bar, and in a photography studio, right? So 24/7, pretty much. And then in my spare time, I was making dream catchers. And I was making them with little beads that I would bring from travels and, you know, and I realized that, okay, I want to sell them on Etsy, you know?
Yeah.
So I started taking photos of the dream catchers and realized that, oh my God, actually photographing things outside of the controlled studio environment was really difficult. So by doing, you know, photography for my own products that didn't sell at all, to be fair, I was like, okay, cool. I'm onto something. So I trained myself to really master that natural light because I didn't have any funds to go off and buy lights or, you know, buy amazing equipment or anything. So I've trained myself to work with natural sunshine to photograph my dream catchers. And by the time that I got really good at photography, I was like, look, I'm gonna do this for someone else because the dream catchers clearly is there's not a big market for, you know, that kind of a thing. So yes. So what happened then? Yeah, I just started taking on some random clients, built a website, was immersed fully into business podcasts. I would join the 5 a.m. club, wake up at 5 in the morning, then listen to podcasts, build a business until like 9, go to work, and then work till like 12 p.m. maybe, not p.m., a.m., midnight, and then repeat
Yeah.
until everything develops very nicely into where we are now. So yeah.
That's cool. I love how story is, because a lot of people, what I see, they're kind of like waiting to act on the perfect idea. And like your story is the perfect proof where you're like, okay, I was doing this, another 5 things. And I realized I'm super good at this. And then I can concentrate on it. Because this is something where we had one of our beach walks in the morning where we talked that you have this hyper focus. But like before you can focus on something and dedicate, like, okay, now I can build a business out of it, it's so good to test things and understand where it actually lands. And that's what you found by testing and trying that, okay, I'm the master of taking pictures, specifically in a natural light. And like they're so juicy, they're so golden, the way you photograph, like it's so beautiful.
I think because for me, light is such a huge inspiration. For me, there's nothing more beautiful than natural sunlight and the shadow plays on the walls. Maybe that comes from much deeper, you know, childhood memories when you wake up and the first thing you see, you know, is just these leaf shadows playing on the wall, you know, on a hot summer's day kind of a thing. I don't know. I don't know. I never thought about that, to be honest. But maybe subconsciously, you know, I'm trying to connect the dots because that is the ultimate happy place that I can be, you know, in peace and quiet in the morning in the sun-soaked room. So maybe that is something that I'm trying to convey in my photos as well. And combining these two hobbies, jewellery, that failed miserably, and photography, you know, gave birth to this project that now I call my life, my baby, my everything, you know? So yeah.
I know you are a planner, and at the moment you're really looking into the future what the business is going to be. But if we could take the step a little bit back, and if you remember, what were your thoughts 7, 5 years ago? Like, what were you looking and thinking at? Or do you feel like everything just happened naturally, finding clients?
That's a good question. I've always wanted independence and the freedom. And for me, that was always the ultimate goal of doing anything in life, you know? And I think in some way it might be even a toxic trait because the freedom is something I'm trying to find in everything I do in life. And sometimes not all things come with freedom, you know? But what was the question again?
If you trace back, like, what were you thinking about the business like 5 years
Right.
ago? Because, like, at the moment, I know you're planning already ahead and you're like, oh, I'm here now because I was doing the work 5 years ago to be at this stage of the business.
Yeah.
So, what were you thinking back then? Like, were you such a strategic thinker as well? And you were kind of like, okay, this is how many clients I need to sign, this is how I'm going to approach them, or what was the flow for you in the business?
I think even imagining that I would ever get to where I am now was never even on the table. I didn't think about that. The only goal I had was to move to a house, live on my own, have a cat. That sounds quite sad, actually. But to have the freedom and independence and not live from wage to wage and go in between three jobs, because even though for me it was okay at that time, it was tiring because I didn't have any time for myself. I didn't have any time for my family. I didn't have any time for my friends. I was living to survive kind of a thing, which was fine for, maybe 2, 3 years, but I knew that I had to do something to get out of it. And I remember, and I was a student, or I was maybe in like my 20s, 21. I was not great at financial management, because even no matter how hard I worked, I never earned enough to do whatever I wanted, you know? And I felt like that can't be it. That can't be the purpose of life. When I wake up, I go from here to there, serve the final beer, run to another job, and then wake up and wake up in a moldy, house living with like 5 or 6 other people, and I remember going to the kitchen and it's a mess because, there were parties every day in our house. And I was like, no, this can't be it. This can't be it, you know? So, and I knew that something had to be done. And no one's going to do anything for me. I had to do that stuff on my own. And yeah, I think that was the main motivator. Just to have the freedom as well, because I always, and I spoke to someone about it the other day, how I miss that sense of ultimate freedom. And we said before that that is the reason why, why I do everything that I do, that why most people do everything that they do. It's either to love, be loved, or to be free. And I remember every year, pretty much, I would work hard, hard, hard. By the end of the month, I would have maybe £5 left. And I'd be like, right, well, that's going to be fun. I'll eat porridge every single day, just like to survive on these £5. And I would get paid again. But every month I would put 100 or £200 on the side for my big break kind of a thing. Because the contract of the house rental, at least in Bristol when I was, kind of in the student days, it would only last for 1 year. That meant that no matter what I did, a new start was waiting for me, So I would work hard for 1 year, doing whatever jobs I could do, save loads of money, and then when that year ended, when the lease would finish, I would just go somewhere with my best friend Molly. We went to New Zealand, we went to Canada, we went to the most random places ever for 1 month or 2 months, to kind of have a full reset of life. So that would then come back to England with no money again and hustle hard for the remaining year. And I think the goal in general was always to be able to do that break at any point that I wanted, to be able to just close my eyes, buy a ticket and go to New Zealand or go to Mongolia, to wake up one day and be like, you know what, I don't want to work for 2 months. I'm gonna go to Malaysia.
Yeah.
It's my life now, you know?
Yeah.
So,
It's so amazing to listen to you because Issa knows you and I don't. And I'm like, oh, wow. You know what, really, I wanted to ask you actually, um, because you said you worked few jobs, and then you were working on your dream. So I find it, how do you balance, where do you put more energy, because a lot of people who tries to start something, even myself, sometimes I'm thinking, and I'm like, I would be so tired after those 2 jobs, whatever you did, to sit down and continue being creative. Because when you want to have your own business, you have to put a lot of also energy and creativity, How you were not tired from doing all of that and then sitting like till the midnight and stuff? Like, where did you get this, I don't know, motivation and energy?
I think tired was never an option.
Mm.
You either do it or you don't do it, And I don't know. I don't know. I was very happy to sacrifice everything that I had, socially, any other way, to just be able to achieve my goal. And also Tony Robbins. A lot of Tony Robbins.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And was there a point where you started to cut back on your regular job so you can invest more energy and time to your own project?
COVID happened. And that's when everything kind of just put my life into place. Because until then, I had all flexibility. I could choose how many shifts I want to do because I managed to build a good relationship between the cafe, the pubs, and the photography studio that I worked at. So photography studio, I was part-time. The cafe, I could do 3 16-hour shifts a week if I wanted to. I could do 5-hour shifts if I wanted to. The pub was exactly the same. So being able to regulate myself, for example, if I have a client, I have a big photo shoot, okay, I do that photo shoot and then kind of balance everything else around me to suit, I don't know, a sleeping schedule of at least 4 hours a day, So in that sense, it was very flexible. But then, like I said, COVID hit and photography studio shut down for a little bit. Obviously, bars and cafes weren't open at all. And I just moved into a new house that I had to get £700 every month for out of somewhere. And I was like, well, this is going to be fun. So I remember there was a time, well, when that just happened, when I had no income left at all and I had no savings either. I sent to every single jewelry business in the UK, hi, I'm a jewelry photographer. Bear in mind, back in the day, there was no one specializing in jewelry photography. Like, no one. And I was like, hi, I'm a jewelry photographer and I'm building up my portfolio and I have an offer for 10 photos for £40, just to get those people in. Like now those 10 photos cost a little bit more than £40. I think
Easier. Perfect.
yeah, kind of. And but back in the day I was like, look, I'm building my portfolio in like 2 weeks. I'm getting clients, I'm getting references, I'm going hard because there's no other option. Because I need to live.
I love what you said because she's a single mom, and she's like, how do you do all of this? And I'm like, you are, as you're saying, Tony Robbins, he's like, be clear on your why. And you're like, I wanted freedom. I was building it no matter what. Wake up at 5, going to bed at midnight, but I'm doing this. You do have an option when you have kids is the same. The why is there. So I always say moms, they usually have so much doubt about themselves. I'm like, you're a high performer. You're managing so many things
Yeah.
that the business is easy. But another thing that I think is also important that I want to ask you, because you said oh, I was chasing this sense of freedom. So I'm wondering how you feel, because also a lot of people have this misconception okay, I'm going to jump into the business. I'm just going to hire everyone and everyone's going to do everything for me. Yes, that's scaling. But at the beginning, I love what Joe Polish says, you're a dancing bear. And if you stop, the circus stops and everything stops.
Mhm.
So how do you feel now? What is the phase you're in? Do you feel that even the way you described freedom changed maybe as well? Or are you still chasing that sort of freedom where okay, I just want to close my eyes, buy the ticket and go? So that is one question that I have. And another one is what is the reality of running a business? Because I know there's a lot of things going on in the background, and there's a lot of beautiful things building the team, but sometimes reality hits and you are the one where everyone is going to be like, hey, sort it out.
That's a great question. So starting from the beginning, I think I'm always in a freedom chasing mode. I think everyone is, no matter what their goals are, no matter where they are in life. Now, I'm at this stage where, to an extent, I have the freedom that I desired. I can wake up and go to Mongolia for 2 months if I wanted to. And that's actually what I'm going to do next year. So obviously for Rando. Or, I can take a break, or I can go for a weekend getaway. But I'm still at the dancing bear stage. I'm a dancing bear, juggling knives on a colorful ball, balancing on one foot. Because even though everything's great, I don't know how to let go. And that is one of the things I just don't know how to do. And the business is not gonna go to the next level until I figure that out. So I'm kind of weirdly mentally still in the same stage, even though now we have a circle of people working for us. I'm still at that stage where I'm struggling to delegate. I'm struggling to trust someone else with the tasks that only I can do. So yeah, it's a learning curve, but it's a fun one, I guess. Yeah. But the freedom is being chased all the time. And there's a lot of work that you have to do as a person, not as a business owner per se, to be able to run a company successfully and lead it on the path of growth, not just existence kind of a thing. Because look, I want to be super clear, right? I would love to come down and sit here and be like, everything's perfect, guys. I have no troubles delegating, or the business is just running on its own, with like someone looking after it like full time. The reality is, it's not it. You know, no matter how many people are on the team, I'm still the person whose baby this is. And there will never be a person who cares about it as much as I do. So even if the company is being run, fully on its own, I'm still a dancing bear.
And
Yeah.
that's why I asked you if like your freedom definition is still the same, because like I have noticed from when I built the business, and then I was like, okay, that's the freedom I was chasing like maybe 5 years ago, 3 years ago. And this is gonna be a question for you. Have you seen yourself changing and evolving as the business grow? You have to kind of like let go of some things and evolve. So for example, for me, freedom got kind of like a 2.0 definition. I even have on like my cards written built for freedom. Every time I'm paying, like I know I'm buying my freedom in a sense. So have you seen your growth? And if I'm talking about like personal growth, that like, okay, I do need to evolve for things to go to the next level.
So I think the definition of freedom has changed significantly since when I've built it to be location and finance independent, to having it and kind of now just wanting peace and quiet. Man, I just want a peace and quiet. And I think that is the ultimate goal at the moment, the ultimate definition of freedom. But I think it's an evolution, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's that journey of you get this, you get that, and we're wired to crave something else, to crave more. We build this, we build that, we're wired to build more. We're always aiming for something higher. It's just about how big of an attachment that you create to your identity and that craving or that goal that determines how happy you feel in life.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's my job.
No, because the struggle is when you have this goal and you start identifying with it so much that it only leads you to unhappiness. Because craving leads you to unhappiness. Craving anything is the stairway to misery and to suffering. Therefore, but by knowing that, we choose a path to suffer or not to suffer, And suffering is great. Suffering is what builds us. Suffering is what makes us go forward in life. And yay, suffering, like bring us more of that, honestly. Like without suffering, we wouldn't grow. I saw a really good, I think it was a stand-up by Jimmy Carr, and he was saying how you should double check every time you are encountered with a challenge. Is it a bug or is it a feature? So
Bug or a feature?
yes, exactly. So you encounter a problem. You encounter, it can be anything.
Yeah.
And you think about, is that really an issue or is that something that is going to charge me to grow? And that's actually an extra feature that I'm not even paying for and I'm receiving it.
Oh wow, it's a good one.
Yeah.
I usually I like to say that like when things like that happen, a bug or a feature, I'm like, oh, universe is conspiring with me, because as you said, at that very present moment, I don't see if it's a bug or a feature.
Yeah.
And the suffering part, as the Tony Robbins also likes to say, we always like try to move further from pain. So like if we have more of that, there's like a certain amount of threshold where we're like, oh, okay, I'm done with this. I'm ready to go all in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the more we react to pain, the more adamant we are to overcome it as well. And it goes to physical, mental, emotional, whatever pain it is. I always have such a good memory of my friend, Carlos. He was, every time encounter an issue or a problem, this one thing, he doesn't even know that probably, but this one picture comes to my mind. So we were camping, a lot of us were camping in Scotland somewhere a few years ago, and he was cooking, like, a dinner. And something happened. He stood up. This whole pot of boiling hot water went on his foot. He just stood up, like he just looked down and went to the nearest river without making a sound, without making a scene how hurt he is. Like, the whole foot went in blisters immediately. It looked vile. The man didn't even make a sound. So now every time I nick my toe to a corner of a table or something, and I want to be like, oh my God, this is the end of the world. It hurts so much, and be dramatic, or everyone look at me how much in misery and pain I am. I think about that moment. I'm like, oh, just stop it. You know? So it goes like that every time, I encounter an issue or something. It's just like, do I have to react? Or can I just get over it, deal with it, and move on? And hopefully get out of that issue as a little bit better, grown person who's learned something about it. So yeah, challenges. Bring them on, I guess.
Talking about challenges, I know that a lot of women are kind of like, there's this thing. If you go to spirituality event, there's more women than males, and if you go to a business event, there's more men than women. And I know you have this like very strong core where you're like, yeah, just go and do it. You don't even kind of encounter a lot of things that other women I hear, they kind of like think about like, oh, but how I'm gonna just go and send those messages to those jewelry brands and say that like, how am I even gonna sell myself? But how do you feel? Do you even think about it that like, oh yeah, I'm a female entrepreneur? Or does it ever land at you? Or you just like, it is what it is?
It is what it is. Everything is what it is.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it might be sheer stupidity, or it can be, I don't know, a next level of, I don't know, empty mind and good mind. But I don't overthink anything. If I feel like that thing is going to help me reach my goal, I do it. If I feel like it's not going to help me reach my goal, I don't do it. It's simple. I feel like a lot of the time we tend to overcomplicate things and overthink things. And that space your mental space gets taken over by overthinking. And it doesn't leave you any space to do the things that are actually going to move you forward. And it's crazy, because I remember when I was a teenager, I was overthinking a lot about every word I said, about every glance I gave to people, about every look that someone gave me. So I would be walking past the street, someone would look at me funny, and I'd be like, oh my God, for the next half a day, I'd be like, why did they look at me like that? Did I have something like on my face? Like, were my clothes weird? I could have been building things, at the same time. I could have been using that energy to create, to build, to learn, to do other stuff. So no, I've never thought about being a woman in business. And I think it's beautiful to be a woman in business. It's beautiful to be a man in business. It's great to be in business. It's great to be.
Click.
Yes. It's just great to be in general. So if you identify yourself as a woman in business and that empowers you, do it. If you identify yourself as a woman in business and then go around saying that you are made to feel not worthy enough, or that men look at you a different way, don't do it. It's a limiting belief that is probably serving not good things to you. I'm coming from a creative industry. I'm not in finance. I'm not in super male led industries where I can feel, the competition, or I can feel, that thing. But one thing I've learned in life is to choose the beliefs that serve me.
Yeah.
And if I go through life thinking, this is not happening to me because, that person's thinking this about me, or because the way that the world has created my image, and it's not great. Why would you do that? Instead, and I what did I tell you this before? I was listening to a podcast with Novak Djokovic. It was Novak, yeah. And he was saying he was playing Nadal, in this match. And it was basically Nadal and Novak. And everyone in the stadium was screaming, Nadal, Nadal, Nadal. Everyone was going against him pretty much and then going for his opponent. Now imagine playing a match where no one's standing with you. So he said, okay, I just took a step back and I imagined that people were shouting, Novak, Novak, Novak. And then he went to stage with completely different energy, with completely different conviction of what he can and cannot do. So, and that's how we can go through life as well. We choose what to believe. Our brain is such a silly little thing. We can shape it so much, you know? So why should we hang on to those beliefs that don't help us move forward when we can cling on to those that give us a kick in the butt and allow us to fly, to the next stage of life?
Yeah. I loved, it's just so beautiful how you said, I used to think it, but at the moment, if I'm creating, I don't have time for it. And to me, I think it's yes, if somebody has time to think about so many little things, you're not creating enough. Because business is about creativity. And if you have loads of things to do, there's less space for, even if we have some, we all have doubts, we all have some limiting beliefs. But if we fully emerge and we create, there's less space for that. So I think it's a really, really good advice. Have you had any mentors, books that you follow along the way that helped you?
I think since the age of, again, 11. 11 is my peak age.
State.
I think that's where it peaks in life. 11.
You're started elevating.
Yeah. My dad read loads of Tony Robbins, and we had maybe 3 books by him. So from the age of 11 or maybe 12, I don't know, I was reading them as well, and I was subconsciously putting that information into my head.
Yeah.
And also, again, following my dad, I read all of the autobiographies that he was reading of Richard Branson, how he launched, tons of different merging companies, of all these entrepreneurs. And I had this realization that they all did the best that they could do with the resources, the time, and the effort that they've been given, So I think it's just everything works on such a subconscious level. So I could say that, obviously there's so many podcasts I listen to day to day. I still listen to Tony Robbins. I still listen to, it's called Gold Digger podcast.
I didn't know this one. I'll check it out.
I haven't listened to her for a long time, but it's this American woman who actually built a photography business, and she talks about everything from email marketing to everything that you need to build a business. And she really helped me build everything up from the very get-go. Diary of CEO, Chris Williams, all of those podcasts that just, I don't know, kind of make you think and make you move forward. I don't know, I love it. Yeah.
That's good. That's great. And all of those are free resources at the moment. Everything is at a fingertips, and I think that's the most insane thing about it, that in reality nothing stops us except myself.
It's insane. It's actually when you start thinking about life as a game where you have no limits, where you have no stops, things start changing around. When you don't triple think, oh, should I say this or should I not say this? Say it. Just do it and see what happens, Obviously, within the limits of, respect and understanding other people and everything. But just treat life as a game. Treat life like it's a playground.
To wrap things up, I have a little serious question to you, which I don't think is so easy to answer to anyone, and it just changes to every stage of life. But we talked about this. You turned a certain age where people start to think, what's the purpose of life? What is success to you? And you don't need to give us a perfect description, but like it seems like freedom is definitely in the game. But when you think about it and you're like, and I feel like I'm successful, like what comes to mind?
I think it's achieving that state of mind that you have when you're 7 years old, waking up on a summer's day that I mentioned before with the shadows on the wall, and thinking, I can do anything.
Mm.
I can do absolutely anything. I have my free will to shape the day in any way that I want. Not in the way that I have to, not in the way that other people expect me to, not in a way that I expect myself to, but feeling from really, really deep down, what is it that I want to do? What will make me happy? What will bring me peace? What will give me nutrition for the body, for soul, for mind, for everything? I think that. And obviously so many other things.
Yeah.
I think success is having the people around you that are happy, healthy, loving, loved, to have a family of my own, happy, healthy, loved, to be a part of a community that allows you to grow, to always move forward in life, and just a peace of mind. I think that is the ultimate sign of success for me, is when the mind is clear, when the mind is still, and when there's no worries in the back of it.
Mm. It's funny how usually we chase so many things, and when we go deep down at the core, we're like, oh, we're trying to find everything down there where it's like, oh, I'm already there. I'm already successful. I think it's such a powerful way to start and go into the business, not thinking that like once I'm there, I'm gonna be this.
100%. 100%. Finding your own truth, and not fighting for it, not telling everyone that my truth is the truth, and you have to make sure you follow it, kind of a thing. No, just looking deep down and seeing what makes you happy, what makes it sounds so cliche, but it's so sad that this is true. It's so simple and it's so true, and we're chasing for all of these crazy things in life when it's everything's in here.
And as I said, it's fun. It's a game.
It is a game.
So like why not to chase? I wanted to play.
Exactly. That is true. That is true. Why not?
Yeah. Well, August, thank you so much. I think there's a lot food for thought for anyone who's thinking about the business. I think there's a lot of inspiration from what you said. Where to start, how to just like go for it. And I want to encourage also like women who are looking in our community. I think the importance is like the resources there. If you feel that like you're scared or something, find your circle, comment under the podcast, like what topics we could also go more deeper into, what questions you have, because everything is there. And like people like us, we want to support you, we want to help you. Like that's, I think, the most fascinating thing in life, that like people who are achieving more, they will always up level you and help you. And the ones who are putting down, there's usually in the sideways. So any closing remarks you want to give to the audience?
I think as long as you surround yourself with people that serve you and who you can serve, taking away anyone that doesn't wish you well, that's a good road, and that's a good starter for success, for sure. As a female founder, as a male founder, as any founder that you want to be, this is a path to success. Yeah.
Great. Thank you for joining us, August.
Yes.
And let us know what comments you have, what questions you have about entrepreneurship, so we can go even deeper on the next episodes.
Yes, subscribe and follow us. And thank you. Till the next time.